Clean, 7 Steps for Freedom. What every addict needs.
That your faith should not stand in the wisdom of men, but in the power of God. 1 Corinthians 2:5.
CC, complete control. He leads. Not me. It is now his battle, not mine. Now that I have begun to believe in God, I must put that belief into action. I must now trust God with my every decision. This will require some new habits and serious effort on my part, but I am willing to do so because my life depends on it. Turning my life over to the care of God is a choice I will make every day and quite possibly minute by minute. With this step begins new actions of prayer and devotions that will soon become welcome habits that will lead me to hear and understand the voice of God and to experience the wonderful things He has in store for me. Here is His promise, ye shall seek me, and find me when ye shall search for me with all your heart. The whole heart must be given to God. This means a complete transformation, a renewing of our nature. We must give ourselves completely to Him. Surrendering all to the will of God requires a struggle. But we must submit to God before we can be transformed. He yearns for us to give ourselves to Him. He is eager to work His will in us, but we must choose whether or not we will be set free from the bondage of addiction and sin. To do this, we must give up anything that would separate us from Him. Whatever will pull me away from God should be thrown out of my life. Whether it is the love of money, the love of a life of selfish ease, the love of freedom from responsibility. It makes no difference, it must go. We also can't be half gods and half the worlds. There are only two sides in this life. If we are not completely on God's side, then we are on Satan's side. It's a tough saying, but a war is raging between God and the devil. As addicts, we were as generals in Satan's army, but now we have chosen the other side. We've defected, and our lives depend on modeling our leader, Jesus Christ, to be a soldier in His army. But in order to be in God's army, we must remember one thing. God fights our battles for us. For the battle is not yours, but God's. 2 Chronicles 20:15. I must stop fighting, and surrender my will to God, and let Him fight my battles for me. God always has our well-being in mind. He also does ask us to give up anything that would be in our best interest to keep. And He knows that the path of addiction is a desolate and lonely path filled with misery and destruction. God does not wish to see His children suffer. It does not please Him. He wants to put you on a path full of joy. How do I surrender myself to God? All the promises I've made about my addiction to others and myself have all failed. Right now, we desire to give ourselves to Him, but we are weak in moral power, slaves to doubt, and we are controlled by the habits of a life of sins. Our promises and resolutions are more like ropes of sand, and we cannot control our thoughts, our impulses, or our affection. Even more, because we know all about our broken promises to quit or do better in the past. We already have little confidence in our own sincerity. We feel like God will not accept us because we are so untrustworthy. But I will not despair. God has given me a will, and I will exercise that will with this power. We must understand the true force of the will. Governing power of the mind, in every person, the power of choice. Everything depends on our right action of the will. This power to decide, it is a power God has given to us. And it is ours to exercise that freedom. My son, give me thine heart, and let thine eyes observe my ways, Proverbs 23:26. Yet, we cannot change our hearts, and we cannot of own power make our desires to be as God's desires. But I can choose serve Him. We can give Him our wills. He will then work in us to will and to do according to His good pleasure. Thus, our whole natures will be brought under the control of the Spirit of Christ. Our desire will be centered on Him. Our thoughts will be in harmony with Him. I realize this won't be easy and that results might not be immediate. Nevertheless, this is my decision. I choose life over death. Let me live that I may praise you, and may your laws sustain me. I have strayed like a lost sheep. Seek your servant, for I have not forgotten your commands. Psalms 119, 175, 176.
If you like this video, subscribe to this channel and share.